Rocket League, for the longest time, has faced a growing issue with its competitive ranking system, one that is pretty unique to the game itself, and one without a concrete answer. But what is the issue? To put it simply, this rank and this rank are not the same. How is that possible? And what do I even mean by that? For those who don't play Rocket League, the game features mode-specific rank ladders. Unlike most games that only have to deal with one rank system for their singular mode, Rocket League has a separate system for each mode of play. Since the different modes play radically different and demand different aspects of player skill, they are separated to better represent what a player is good at. There are currently 9 ways rank is tracked in the game: 3 competitive modes, 4 extra modes, ranked tournaments, and the hidden casual MMR, which covers everything else. Having their own ranked ladders means that every mode has its own rank distribution, which changes over time depending on how the community's skill evolves. For example, as the player base gets older, the average player would naturally get better, causing the distribution to skew upwards or inflate over time. It's a very natural part of ranking ladders, and there's a bunch of ways to balance the distribution of players as time goes on. So what is the real issue here? Well, the problem facing Psyonix at the moment is that the rank distributions between modes aren't the same, meaning that different proportions of the player base exist at the same rank. This happens for a myriad of reasons: popularity of the modes, how easy it is to improve, and so on. But the outcome is that it takes differing levels of skill to reach the same rank in different modes. This is sometimes known as rank drift, and has been the bane of competitive players trying to maintain a consistent rank across modes. The issue has reached a point where it's practically impossible to maintain the same rank in the main modes without one or two being radically different from one another. Let's take Season 9 as an example. This season ended in early March of this year, and as such has its player distribution posted for everyone to see. Let's say you were aiming for Champion 1. In the standard mode, you would need to be in the top 5% of players, which makes a lot of sense. It's starting to get pretty up there in the rank ladder, but there is still some way to go. But to reach that same rank in doubles, you would need to be in the top 12.5% of players. That's 2.5 times the number of players, proportionally speaking, considerably easier to do. But then we have the solo mode, which requires you to be in the top 1% of players, making it 5 times harder to get into compared to standard. There are more Grand Champions in 2v2, 3 ranks higher, than there are champions in 1v1. The issue that stems from this is that the same ranks hold radically different values in terms of achievement. A champion 1v1 player is often a pretty mechanically competent player, while the same can't really be said for your average 2v2 champ. So what is Psyonix's answer to this problem? Usually they relied on the season soft resets to nudge things back into the right direction. However, it clearly hasn't been working for them, so this season they tried a bit of a different approach. For those of you who noticed that your 2's rank turned into a heartbeat monitor, you will have experienced both their attempt to fix things and the ensuing backlash of this attempt. To lay it out simply, they raised 1v1 slightly, dropped standard by around 100 MMR, or about 1 rank, and absolutely cratered 2v2 by dropping it a full 300 MMR points in one fell swoop. Regardless of whatever competitive game you do play, you can probably appreciate why this might not go down all that well. Dropping a former Grand Champ back down into Champ without telling them beforehand is a really good way to get on their bad side. And surprisingly, after some colourful community feedback, they walked the rank shift back about halfway. Okay, so this has clearly gotten a bit out of Psyonix's control at this point. But what exactly causes the main modes to drift this far apart? For 1v1s, it falls behind largely because it's not a particularly popular or easy mode. Since everything comes down to how you play, there's a lot of stress that comes from playing this mode. Since there are less people playing this mode overall, there's less opportunity for players to increase their rank and improve. It also doesn't help that you'll be fighting tooth and nail at a rank considerably lower than your others, which can drive away players from even trying. For 2v2s, it is by far the most popular mode to play. There's much more room to breathe, and it allows players to be more mechanical without the same pressure found in other modes. It's also the primary victim of smurfing. The actual effects that this has on the distribution are unknown, but this mode is by far the easiest to collect the Grand Champion rewards from, and probably explains why the mode has the harshest fall off from GC1 to 2, despite being the most popular mode. So what are the solutions to rank drift? Well, Psyonix are still attempting to implement cross-season changes in order to prevent the modes from drifting apart. Likely, this will mean that Duo and Standard will be perpetually dragged down, and 1v1 will be dragged up every season, which I suppose they have to do in order to hide the changes with the soft rank resets, and not annoy players too much. Personally, I think that every rank, particularly the higher ones, should represent a specific top percentage of players, and a player's MMR should be subtly nudged day to day, instead of on a season to season basis, so that players aren't blindsided by sudden rank changes like this. The more important part is aligning the modes in a meaningful way, and making sure that they stay that way forever. This is of course a pretty complex issue of statistics, and I'm certainly not qualified to fix this issue, but I would love to know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.